Right now is the easiest it will ever be to go pro in Fortnite, and in this video we're going to look at why it's so easy right now and give you 5 tips that you can use to capitalize on this huge advantage. The reason why it's so easy to go pro right now is because in Chapter 4 Season 4 there is no FNCS. The only main events this season are duo and solo cash cups because Epic Games wants to put the main focus on the global championships at the end of the season. This means that there is no large FNCS that all of the top players are really grinding for, meaning that if you take the time this season to really focus on getting better, you can leapfrog ahead of the competition going into 2024 and dominate Chapter 5. Knowing this, here are 5 tips to help you improve a ton this season. The first thing I want to talk about is building good routines because everything after this is going to build on having a good routine. If you want to go pro in Fortnite, you need to build your life around a schedule that will allow you to go pro. Ideally, you want to start this process off slow and work your way into a full-blown pro routine where you're playing at least 4 hours a day of dedicated practice. In addition to this, you want to make sure that you're building strong, healthy habits outside of Fortnite, such as having good diet, exercise, and sleep so you can perform optimally in game. The most important part of building these routines is to start slow with something that you can actually manage. If that means we increase our playtime by 30 minutes a day and increase the amount we sleep by an hour, these are great starts. It is so much better to start with a small change today that you can actually maintain than trying to make a huge leap forward, such as trying to play for 8 hours a day on top of school every day. If you overstep too far, you will inevitably fail as you are not ready for this drastic of a change in your life. Now that you are building these strong habits, what can we actually do to directly improve at Fortnite on a day-to-day basis? The most important thing that you can do to improve at Fortnite is push yourself to failure. Unless you are literally Buka, which let's be honest, you're not, you can push yourself to find harder practice. This should be done in literally every aspect of how you play. If you're aim training, try to find harder routines. If you're playing creative 1v1, try to play against better players in either scrim discords or find good players to 1v1. If you're dominating rank, try playing rank no-fill, either duos or squads, and really push your fighting ability. There are tons of different ways to make your practice more difficult, and you should not be trying to win in your practice. You should be trying to push yourself with harder and harder challenges until you fail. After you have failed a bunch of times, you can move on to the third thing that you must be doing in order to improve, and that is VOD reviewing. After failing in whatever you've been pushing yourself, you need to watch back your games so that you're not just failing for no reason. The goal here is to identify your mistakes and weaknesses by watching back how you're dying. Once you have identified your mistakes and weaknesses, you need to start actively working on them. At the start of this year, I realized that my aim was a huge weakness in my gameplay, so I committed myself to improving my aim by kovaxing every day for an hour every single day. This drastically improved my aim, and it is now one of my strongest aspects as a player. It doesn't really matter where your weaknesses are as a player, but the important lesson to take away from this is to identify your mistakes from our third tip and create a real applicable plan to tackle these mistakes. Now that we have pushed ourselves to make mistakes, learned exactly what our mistakes are, and put in an actionable plan to deal with those mistakes, the last thing and the most important part of this video is that it's going to take time. If you go into this journey of trying to go pro expecting 2 weeks of work, I don't know how to tell you this, but maybe going pro isn't for you, and that's okay. But this is a process that is going to take upwards of a year before you actually go pro. It is not always going to be easy, and I can't guarantee your success, but even if you fail over the next year, you will still get a ton out of it, as the lessons that you learn from trying to become the best at something will serve you for the rest of your life.